I am I am continuing my reading in this series, and what I'm doing is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a little bit as I move along. Right now, I am reading in Ruth because I'm reading in the time of the Judges, and right now this will be chapter 2. Ruth gleans in fields of Boaz, a near kinsman of Naomi. He treats Ruth kindly. And Naomi had a kinsman of her husband's, a mighty man of wealth, of the family of Elimelech, and his name was Boaz. And Ruth the Moabitess said unto Naomi, Let me now go to the field, and glean ears of corn after him, in whose sight I shall find grace. And she said unto her, Go, my daughter. And she went and came, and gleaned in the field after the reapers. And her hap was to light on a part of the field belonging unto Boaz, who was of the kindred of Elimelech. Now, two things here, really quick. First, Boaz and Elimelech are kindred. That doesn't mean they're brothers. It probably means they're either cousins or second cousins, something along those lines. So that's what the near kinsman is in general. In addition, the gleaning, this is going back to the law of Moses, where when you're reaping the harvest, those pieces that fall to the ground or fail to get cut completely, you're supposed to leave them so that the poor can come and collect and feed themselves. And it's a way of taking care of the poor. One other thing to mention, a third thing here, is that it says she happed on a part of the field belonging to Boaz, which means that the farmland was not sectioned off. You didn't have this field over here belonged to Boaz. You had a large field, and this portion belonged to Boaz, but what was next to it might have belonged to somebody else. So it's an interesting dynamic of how this works out. So let us continue. Verse 4. And behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem, and said unto the reapers, The Lord be with you. And they answered him, The Lord bless thee. Then said Boaz unto his servant that was set over the reapers, Whose damsel is this? And the servant that was set over the reapers answered and said, It is the Moabitish damsel that came back with Naomi out of the country of Moab. Then she said, I pray you, let me glean and gather after the reapers among the sheaves. So she came, and hath continued even from the morning until now, that she tarried a little in the house. A quick note here. This gives us some indication of how life was set up in this time, because Boaz is coming out of Bethlehem. He owns the land, the farmland outside of the city. He owns it. Possibly his servants live on the land, but he has his house in Bethlehem. And if you recall in the law of Moses, people were given an inheritance either or both of farmland as well as a house in town, usually, or some people were given it, but the law was different on property ownership between the two. Town property was treated differently than farmland. Now, we also know here from what they say, Ruth has been out there for several hours. She got there in the morning. She's been working all day. She tarried briefly in the house, meaning she probably took a rest at noon when it was hottest out, and then went right back to work, showing her industry, her not only willingness to work, but her ability to work. Both of those things are very important. So let us continue. Verse 8. Then said Boaz unto Ruth, Hearest thou not, my daughter? Go not to glean in another field, neither go from hence. But abide here fast by my maidens. Let thine eyes be on the field that they do reap, and go thou after them. Have I not charged the young men that they shall not touch thee? And when thou art athirst, go unto the vessels, and drink of that which the young men have drawn. Then she fell on her face, and bowed herself to the ground, and said unto him, Why have I found grace in thine eyes, that thou shouldest take knowledge of me, seeing I am a stranger? I think her response here, Ruth is surprised at this. Remember, the Moabites and Israel are antagonists. They are almost constantly at odds with each other. They are not exactly enemies, but there is a almost constant hostility between them. The Israelites don't like the Moabites. The Moabites don't like the Israelites. For Boaz to show this level of kindness to Ruth was a shock to her. And it also shows that most people were not showing this kind of kindness. This was something new to Ruth. She knew Naomi was kind. She loved Naomi. But it seems that since they got back, this is the first time that anyone has showed her this kind of kindness. And I love Boaz's response here. So let's read this. Verse 11. And Boaz answered and said unto her, It hath fully been shewed me all that thou hast done unto thy mother and mother-in-law since the death of thine husband, and how thou hast left thy father and thy mother, and the land of thy nativity, and art come unto a people which thou knewest not heretofore. The Lord recompense thy work, and a full reward be given thee of the Lord God of Israel, under whose wings thou art come to trust. So you say, look, it doesn't matter that you're a Moabite, it doesn't matter that you're a stranger. You have chosen to live among us. You have chosen to live according to our laws. You have chosen God. God will bless you for that, and I will do what I can to help you because of that. It's a great response. But now, verse 13. Then she said, Let me find favor in thy sight, my Lord, for that thou hast comforted me, and for that thou hast spoken friendly unto thine handmaid, though I be not like unto one of thine handmaidens. And Boaz said unto her, At mealtime come thou hither, and eat of the bread, and dip thy morsel in the vinegar. And she sat beside the reapers, and he reached her parched corn, and she did eat, and was sufficed, and left. And when she was risen up to glean, Boaz commanded his young men, saying, Let her glean even among the sheaves, and reproach her not. And let fall also some of the handfuls of purpose for her, and leave them, that she may glean them, and rebuke her not. So she gleaned in the field until even, and beat out that she had gleaned, and it was about an ephah of barley. So he invited her to lunch. So maybe the tarried in the house briefly was in late morning, but they have lunch, she eats her fill, and goes right back to work. Again, showing her industry, her willingness to work. And he tells them, let her glean among the sheaves. What this means is, the sheaves are, when you harvested, you would cut the wheat down, or the barley, and then you would bundle them up and tie them up, and that was a sheaf. And you would stack the sheaves, and until the sheaves were taken away, the gleaners were supposed to glean where everything had already been cut down, not among the sheaves. But he's saying, let her glean everywhere. And he said, drop some extra. Make sure that she has enough. Verse 18. And she took it up and went into the city. And her mother-in-law saw that she had gleaned what she had gleaned, and she brought forth, and gave to her that she had reserved after she was sufficed. And her mother-in-law said unto her, Where hast thou gleaned today, and where wroughtest thou? Blessed be he that did take knowledge of thee. And she shewed her mother-in-law with whom she had wrought, and said, The man's name with whom I wrought today is Boaz. And Naomi said unto her daughter-in-law, Blessed be he of the Lord, who hath not left off his kindness to the living and to the dead. And Naomi said unto her, The man is near of kin unto us, one of our next kinsmen. And Ruth the Moabitess said, He said unto me also, Thou shalt keep fast by my young men, until they have ended all my harvest. And Naomi said unto Ruth, her daughter-in-law, It is good, my daughter, that thou go out with his maidens, that they meet thee not in any other field. So she kept fast by the maidens of Boaz, to glean unto the end of barley harvest, and of wheat harvest, and dwelt with her mother-in-law. Let me put a little more light in here real quick. So let us set the stage just a little bit. Let's understand a few things. So he's being very generous. He's not just saying, yeah, let her glean like all the rest of people glean. He's saying, give her a little extra. Make sure she has enough. And when she comes back to Naomi, she gives Naomi everything, because she's already eaten for the day. And she's satisfied. She got to eat at Boaz's. She doesn't need to eat any of what she brought back. She gives it all to Naomi. So this shows her love of Naomi, her kindness. We've seen her industry. She's a hardworking woman. Boaz noticed this as well. Remember that this is early on. Israel has been in the promised land less than 100 years, probably maybe around 60 years. Boaz knows that they have to build a nation here. And if they're going to build a nation, they need kind, hardworking people, both men and women. And he sees this in Ruth, and I think this is why he's not just being kind because, oh, she's taking care of her mother. No, he's being kind because he sees that she has the potential to make Israel a great nation. Doesn't matter that she's a Moabite by birth. She is converted. She is now living the law of God in Israel. According to the law of Moses, she is a legal citizen of Israel. She has equal standing to everybody else. He follows the law. Everything is good. And he knows that he needs to encourage this. He needs to encourage people like this if they are going to build a strong nation. And remember, he is a chief among Judah. He is not just a rich guy. He is in the direct line of the patriarchs of Judah. He would be the next prince of Judah. He is a leader among men. And he is trying to build up a nation. And he sees Ruth. And he says to himself, this is what we need. This is what we need to encourage. This is what we as a people need if we are going to be strong. Four traits that Ruth has shown to this point. Industry and hard work. Kindness, humility, because she is out gleaning, and faith. She has put her faith not only in Naomi, but in God and the Israelites as a people. And Boaz says, this is what we need. I'm going to leave that here. I will make more comments on this subject in the last two chapters.